There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonkō Table. That's the voice of GrandMasterHoop you're hearing. And we're coming at you to talk about Thor, Love and Thunder. That's right. The hit Marvel movie just dropped, and look at us. We're ready to deep dive this thing at 11 o'clock at night because we're dedicated fans, and we are here for the love and the thunder and everything else that it entitles. With me, as always, is fellow Yonkō, DrJaceAttorney. DrJaceAttorney, Love and Thunder. Did you feel the love? Did you feel the thunder?
I felt the love. I felt the thunder. Just going in expecting Thor Ragnarok 2.0, Taika Waititi at the directing helm again. I felt like he did fine for the most part. I feel like he hit the bars at some point with the comedy bits. Was it as good as Ragnarok? I don't know. I don't think so. But we're here to deep dive it. I think this was one of the more enjoyable Phase 4 films. Not the best one. There's still a few that I prefer over Love and Thunder, but it was fine.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. Yeah, Taika is back at the helm for a second outing with Thor, and yeah, it definitely feels different. I will get into it. I won't say where I stand as far as where Thor films rank just yet, but hey, we have a full house tonight. Let's hear who will be joining us for Thor, Love, and Thunder. All right, folks, let's get into it. I mean, Dr. Jace kind of opened the door. This is Thor 4, again, out of the core Avengers. He is the first one to get 4 distinct films. So this is our 4th outing with Thor in the Thor franchise. Definitely, I feel, yes, when you come into this movie, I guess you're gonna stack it up against Ragnarok right away because that was our last outing with Thor. That was Taika's first time. Let's just open the gate. Generally, how did we feel coming out of this film? I enjoyed it. I think Taika did enough to separate this film from Ragnarok. I didn't feel it was a cut and paste. Was the tone nailed? It was kind of over the place a little bit, but I actually thoroughly enjoyed this film. I walked away saying it was fun. Was it a perfect film? No. But with the stuff that was given, the fun parts that I really enjoyed, I can say it was a better entry in Phase 4. I don't know about the giant Marvel universe just yet, but I can definitely say there's some strong stuff going on here that I thoroughly enjoyed. But of course, it is not without flaw. That's where I stand. Anybody else can go ahead and take the floor. How do we generally feel?
I agree with you. Like when it comes to the Marvel universe as a whole, like it kind of stands on its own. But I gotta say, for viewability and likability, I had such a great time watching this movie. I was enjoying it. I love the colors. The villain was actually kind of cool. Like I kind of enjoyed the villain. I like the storyline. I love the love part, love the thunder part, love the Thor part. So I really enjoyed this movie, and I am eager to deep dive into it a little bit more.
Not all at once, people.
I can go next.
One at a
Are
time.
we divided? Are we
Toasty,
divided?
One at a time, please.
Are we divided?
Get in
Are
line.
we divided? Go ahead. No, Toasty, go ahead.
In terms of Phase 4, it was definitely the second best movie for me. It really did its job, really entertaining. Went into the theater, not expecting too much, but I was less satisfied. So honestly, close second to Eternals. So I'm pretty happy.
Oh,
Will
wait,
you
Toasty,
stop with this?
Point of clarification: is it the Thor films you do not like, or is it the Captain America films you're not?
Captain America. Captain America is garbage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally
It's Dr. Mondo who does not like Thor as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay,
He does not like
If-
Thor Ragnarok.
he does not like Thor Ragnarok. Okay.
Yeah, if it was Captain America, I would have not paid money to go see it.
Oh
obviously.
boy.
You
Okay.
are
Yeah.
ridiculous. You are ridiculous.
Right. Anybody else? By all means, before we deep dive, unless your thoughts are going to come out in this deeper discussion.
I will say that I didn't have any expectations going into this movie, and I am deeply disappointed by it.
Ooh.
I did not enjoy it at all.
There goes our
Oh.
first one. Our
Yeah.
first one.
Oh, we're
Like
all
I
over the
found
place. I like
aspects of it really enjoyable on paper. On the screen, I felt like it was empty. That's
Ooh.
and we can deep dive on it.
Soulless. Interesting.
I don't think I have anything kind of novel to share. I think I actually feel really similarly to what most of folks have already shared in terms of like had a lot of fun, didn't have a lot of expectations. I think I have my critiques, but it was a fun 2 hours. And the fact that it was 2 hours, I was actually relieved because I think everything has been so long lately that I think it was a short, in Marvel terms, and sweet story. It felt relatively straightforward. Again, I imagine we'll deep dive the parts in which I felt like could have been ironed out a little bit more, but overall had a really good time in the theater. I was laughing a lot. That's all
Is
I
it
can
really
ask
only
for
2
Thursday.
hours?
It's one of
Yeah,
the
1
shortest
hour,
films.
Yeah, 1 hour and 59 minutes.
Wow.
And honestly, it's only hits the 2 hour mark with the credits.
Dr. Mondo would love this. He would
I
love
mean,
that it's 2 hours.
I'm okay with it being 2 hours.
I'm fine,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm because like, you know, again, this is kind of one of our bigger things that we usually talk about when it comes to Marvel is that, you know, they always kind of play it to we got to tie it back into the bigger scheme of things. This film definitely didn't do that. It just was a Thor story, and that's all it was. I mean, sure, there's probably like tidbits to the overall MCU. Like, I mean, none really come to mind because again, that's not the focus of this. Taika said, "I'm gonna give you another Thor outing. Either you like it or you love it." So, but let's go ahead. I mean, at the center of this, it's Thor. Chris Hemsworth is back. I don't even know how many times he's played Thor at this time. But again, his biggest thing was nine times. Thank you, DoctaReeka.
Ooh.
9 times. His biggest thing was he wants to have fun with the Thor films. Dark World put him in a weird place where he didn't know if he would want to return to the character. I thoroughly enjoyed his performance here. I guess the biggest question is Thor finding himself. Did he complete his arc? Are you good with this arc of Thor? I mean, I understand coming in, he's just a guy who's been through it all with loss. He loses everybody, and they really poke fun at it. I don't know. Did you buy into has he grown from Endgame? The last time we saw him was Endgame, you know, chunky Thor, but dad bod Thor. Is this a welcome return? Was it a earned return to Thor in his like prime? Do you buy into it?
Yeah, I thought it was well done. I mean, they tackle a couple issues that were going on with him in the previous movies. He worked them out, so I'm expecting him to be back to 100% and the next movie that he appears in. So I'm happy about it. So, because personally, I didn't like Sad Thor because for me, he's one of the funny characters of the team. So if he's sad, there's no fun for the team, you know? So
Are you sad when he's sad?
yeah. Let's go with that. But no, that's the logic with it. He's the fun guy. So if the fun guy is not laughing, and part of the Marvel cinematic universe is that some characters are supposed to make you laugh, and they all mash up well with characters that don't do that. So the dynamic was off. Now it's back on. So I'm excited for the next movie because I know he's going to do more clownery. Yeah.
So you think his journey definitely it showed like he overcame the grief and the depression.
And Loki, I love him and the Guardian of the Galaxy. Their combination together is hilarious. So I was hoping that he would see them at the end. So it is a little bit disappointing that he went off on his own, but I wanted to see more of them. So
I wish they did more with that. I feel like that was a
Ooh.
missed opportunity. With
Sure,
the
let's-
Guardians of
yeah.
the Galaxy.
I don't know. I feel a lot of things got cut in this film. Primarily the
Yes.
Guardians. I think the Guardians
Yes.
definitely got cut. Like everyone just kind of had a quick line and then they were gone, like really quick. We need an army. Call the Guardians. I don't know why.
No phone.
but it's not-
How are you gonna
it's-
call them? How are you gonna call them? No phone.
Bifrost.
Don't know where they are. They're on a ship.
guess he
They're
didn't.
always moving.
I mean, logically,
I
I
wanted
would-
them. I wanted
Actually,
them
no.
in this movie.
no,
What's
they could
weird,
talk
like-
to each other because in the previous movie, I think it was they all talked together in a room together, where they all had like like the Star Wars technology where it was
Oh, that-
hologram.
that's Avengers though. Thor's
Oh,
not
that's
working.
Shang-Chi. That's
Yeah.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. So it
Yeah.
means they have the technology. You want to believe that Thor, a member of the Avenger, can not just popped out in the Avengers Tower. He doesn't need a key.
But I think
He's
you need that
practically-
though. Like
You
like
might
the
need that
Guardians
out.
probably don't have that on their
Yeah,
ship.
I don't think. Yeah, the Guardians are not like
They have a spaceship. Like
Yeah,
they
but-
must have some kind of
It's
radio.
the logic of saying, well, why don't they have a phone? I don't know.
they're
They just
allies.
But
They're
I think
allies.
that's the whole comedy of it. Like if you've seen any of like the short stories or like the Thor specials, he's like, all right, Daryl, send an electronic message to Captain America.
Those
Stop
I have not
Iron
seen.
Man.
I just found out about
But
those.
he doesn't know how to communicate with people.
They're
That's-
live action.
And they were like,
They're-
oh, but is it hooked up to internet? And then he was like, why would I need that?
They
For the
are live
email.
action. They're mockumentaries that were released, I believe, from 2017 to 2018.
Oh wow.
Didn't know those were a thing.
I need to
um,
check those out.
But I do think the Guardians did help him come to his, back to form. I like they served that purpose. It just seemed kind of a rushed affair. But I like their inclusion, however short it is. I do wish we could have seen it more, but it's not their film. It's not their film, and I'm
It's not
okay.
their film, but like I do think that there was like a lot of missed opportunities with it, like the as Guardians of the Galaxy, as people were saying, on Twitter, and we didn't really get too much of that.
They could have been supporting cast. I would have been.
See,
fine.
that's an expectation. That's an expectation
It wasn't
coming
meant.
in.
But I mean,
But also,
I did enjoy like the little brief moments we had with them, and to focus more on Thor throughout the rest of the movie, I was okay with that as well.
but also, the more minutes you had for the Guardians, the more their paychecks raise.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
Bradley
you want to
Cooper, Dave Bautista, Chris
They
you
Pratt.
got-
want to pay all those people twice for a supporting role, and then a main role in their own movie?
I would
No.
call it a glorified cameo more
That's-
than a.
Yeah, like how Civil War did it. It was his movie, Cap. It was Cap's movie, but you had all these
No,
big names.
They were supporting characters though.
Yeah,
The
those
No,
Guardians
no.
were.
No, but that's what I mean. Like they were top tier actors. Like I assume that's what Nino was
Oh.
talking about. Like the more
Oh,
time you
right.
have them on screen as supporting, you're having a bigger paycheck. So they kind of did it in a way in previous movies. I mean, obviously Endgame, Avengers, the big ones, but like even Cap had it in his Civil War movie. So
That was Avengers 2.5. That's the real sequel.
It
was
honestly
Avengers
should have.
2.5.
It should have been called. And if Guardians 3 picks up right where they left in Thor: Love and Thunder, I would like that. That probably makes a lot more
I
sense.
think it would. There's no.
I think
way
it will.
wouldn't.
Honestly, yeah. It kind of seems to led straight into it. But yeah, Thor. He says goodbye to the Guardians. He's got some business to take care of. But
and then they introduced two of my
Well-
favorite funny characters.
we will get to them because there is someone more important we got to talk about. Because honestly, it's a deuteragonist. We have Jane, and we get to spend some good time with Jane. She's going through it right now. She's got stage 4 cancer. And how Jane is I thought they did very well with what they did with Jane. How do y'all feel about Jane as far as her being she's the other side of this story? It's these two coming together.
I very much enjoyed seeing Jane and Natalie Portman on the screen. Love seeing her kick butt, take names. Loved what she was doing with Mjolnir. Only thing that I wish they would have mentioned was the fact that she had an Infinity Stone in her body. Like if they could have just like alluded to that at some little point.
yeah,
I would've
she
been,
does.
Oh, cool. That's a
Well,
little.
it's out.
Right, but it was still in her body at some point.
Are you
Carol
saying that
Danvers was hit with the blast from the Tesseract, and she became that? And Natalie Portman had the ether in her body for a week, and nothing happened to her, like her genetic molecules.
It
Like-
could literally like caused the sickness to heighten. But then you see Darce, that would be in a better written movie. But
Are you saying the cancer plot? She
I
just
didn't like
can't
it.
have cancer?
I didn't like it.
no,
Why?
it's-
Why?
I'm not saying that. This is like pulled straight from the comics.
It is.
Like
Yes,
the
it
Mighty
is.
Thor. And I just felt like I don't know if they. Actually, no. I think it's fine. I think the stuff that they did with Jane was fine. I'll keep it at that.
Dr. Jace, explain more. What do you mean what? She just can't
I
be a
just-
human? This can't be a realistic portrayal?
I mean, I guess that's fine. You know, like that was probably one of the few realistic portrayals we've gotten in Marvel where like they're just dying from something human. You know, it's not like Thanos punching a hole through their stomach or dropping them off a cliff. It's cancer. But I don't know. I didn't like how that was like the impending timer on her. I guess you have all these cosmic things going on with Stormbreaker and whatever the Eternity, whatever it was called. You have all these like
Eternity.
right. You have all these cosmic things, but then the thing holding Jane back is, oh, by the way, stage 4. I mean, I don't know. It kind of pulled me out. It's not bad. I don't know. I kind of wanted them to do something different than just that compared to all the big things that were happening. And then you have the scene where I'm kind of jumping forward a bit, where she's kind of like she's bedridden and she's saying, "Go, Thor, you saved the day because I'm bedridden and I'm sick." And I'm like, oh God, why? I don't know. I didn't like that. That's just me. though.
I think my major issue with it is it to Dr. Jace's point, there were so many different like cosmic things going on. I feel like if they connected the personal, real like experience to the cosmic things better,
Yes.
it wouldn't have felt like two different movies edited together. Because I felt like there was a lot of between Thor. Like yes, there are two protagonists in the movie, but ultimately, they kind of feel forced. Their journeys feel forced together, so that we can get to a big ending scene, rather than them being woven into each other.
I don't know if I agree. I mean, I think I could agree a bit to how they came together for sure. Like it was kind of just like, I gotta go to New Asgard to talk to Mjolnir, and then I guess there was a time jump because she's been Thor for a while by the time Thor gets back.
Wait, there is a time jump?
Yes, because Valkyrie was like, oh yeah, she's the new Thor, she's pretty good.
But
Yeah, but we don't know how long though.
That's what I'm saying.
I just took
is
that
that-
as she probably turned into Thor in front of her, like when she did the Mjolnir thing, and then that's it.
A couple of days later.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely, I mean, again, they don't say how long, but it's a time jump because she
I think it was kind of because people are kind of tired of seeing like the origin stories of stuff and like superhero training montage and trying to figure out the powers and all that stuff. So they kind of just alluded to that.
Actually, no, that doesn't make sense because she learned how to use the weapon. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And they were cheering for her when she came down.
I
And they were
just thought
like,
because they saw someone looking like Thor with Mjolnir
No,
swinging it
they
around.
We can
her.
assume she'd been around for a while and people knew who she was.
Yes. And they know that Mjolnir exploded. It was literally on display.
Yes, correct.
Even when they were
So-
like in the city hall after like the whole event happened, like people were coming to her and stuff.
Yeah.
While Thor was like off in the background. not
But
getting
isn't
talked
that what you would cheer for? You have a monument to something that was destroyed however many years ago, and then as monsters are attacking, you see Mjolnir just fly through and destroy
No.
everything, and it
No,
gets
she's-
torn.
No, but the logic with Darce, he mentioned it when they went into the town hall. People were talking to her as if they knew her. They were not acting impressing. Oh my God, who are you? They were having a friendly conversation with her, which shows that she had time to build connection. She had time to learn how to use the weapon, to learn how to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she
also-
even
Yeah.
she said she's been practicing her catchphrases.
And we can see it with her
Okay,
human
the
face.
catchphrase. Yeah.
No, not only that, we can see her with like her regular form. Before she got the hammer, she looked normal. After the time skip, you could see that she was suffering from symptoms. She didn't look the same. There was a time jump.
I feel
Yeah.
they should have done
And
a
then
better job
also, like-
communicating that. I hate that.
With her relationship with Tessa, Valkyrie. Like she had to have like a little bit more of a relationship with her in order for Valkyrie to call her sister. Like there had to have that like established time to like kind of build that. And
Actually,
well, that's cool. You have
That's
hammer.
another good point too. Yeah.
we can also know almost how long it was because we know she had cancer for 6 months. And we can assume the scene at the beginning is when she first got cancer within the first couple weeks. It must have at least been a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she told Thor I was diagnosed 6 months ago. When we first saw her, she just started the chemo, and we don't know. I mean, there's probably some detail on them.
Do we know that she just started?
When you have stage, when you have stage 4, she must have just started. She didn't look like she was suffering from any symptom. Her hair was still there. She was still healthy looking. Chemo's destroyed the body, unless they did a stupid move. Chemo destroys the body. She looked healthy at the beginning. That's the point I was making.
Even if it wasn't like the first stage of cancer, it was like, or her first finding out about it, like it was like pretty early on because she took her time in the lab to do all of those tests to figure out if there was like a way around this.
Oh,
and
right. Yeah.
Back to what I was saying, like if they would have said like, we really have no idea, like this is a totally different hybrid form of like cancer, like we really don't know how to explain this. If they would have said something like that, and we could have kind of allude to like, oh, maybe the ether had some form into this, that would make sense. But
they kind of alluded to something like that too when again kind of jumping forward a bit, but when she decided to stop using Mjolnir, the doctor that was talking to Thor, she was saying, yeah, there's something in her body that's like preventing her from.
No.
That was the hammer.
No, I know it was the hammer. I know it was the hammer. But to go back to your point on if they should have mentioned the ether or the Infinity Stone, that may have been something to tie in. Like, this thing is still inside her. That's what's causing her to do it. The hammer thing, I guess, makes sense because Thor explained it like very quickly why it would do that. But that was an opportunity for them to tie it back. But
I mean, I'm okay with them grounding it in a sense of realism. It's just, it is what it is. It's cancer, and it can rapidly eat away at someone, or they can fight it. I'm okay. I actually think it's her story is better when it's grounded in that realism, because you do have all this cosmic stuff going on. It anchors you back to the real world that, she can't keep using Mjolnir. Granted, I thought Mjolnir I thought she would always have to be Thor in order to beat the cancer, because I think that's what it is in the comics too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess they took another way at it, which I thought was it was good introspective. She sought out magic after years of only relying on science, and it's kind of a callback to the first film where Thor tells her science and magic, where I come from, they're one and the same, so it's actually kind of saddening that she thought they were separate when Thor did tell her they're one and the same. The magic could not save her, and actually, oh man, now I'm kind of feeling for her. But I think they did a good job at making you feel for Jane throughout the film, as well as giving Thor that kind of extra push. It didn't feel like she was ever just a side character. It did feel like she had a story, and it was told. We have a third main player, newcomer, Gorr the God Butcher.
Mhm.
Christian Bale, not his first rodeo in towards a villainry. Think he did a pretty good job here. Did the story do good by his performance?
No,
Yeah.
underutilized.
Listen, did you see him butch any gods?
No.
One.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess in the beginning.
In the very beginning.
Yes.
I just he was in 5 scenes of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
he was.
The beginning scene, the first fight scene in the town where he was at where he kidnaps the children. Oh no, he was in 6.
He had 3. He had 3 fight scenes throughout the movie, and then then he had his cage interaction with the children.
But I mean, like, if you think of like other Marvel movies, like if you're watching the Avengers, we saw Loki for maybe like 3 or 4 scenes. You know, whenever we see like the villain, like Ultron, we didn't see Ultron all that much.
And Ultron was mid.
No, but I mean, like, I think we saw Gorr a good amount of times, and like, I kind of enjoyed it.
I'm gonna stop you right there though. Loki and Ultron got way more screen time than Gorr did, for sure. Because both those villains each had like character moments with the core Avengers in each of those movies.
We had like the 15 minutes of the movie was like on Gorr.
I like the opening scene with Gorr. I mean, every scene Gorr's in, he does a phenomenal job. But part of me feels they definitely cut some stuff because we didn't see enough. I don't know. The threat didn't feel.
Did you get Jared Leto?
Oh, say that again, DoctaReeka.
No, I was saying, what did you feel was missing? That's my question.
The butching.
Oh no, I know exactly what was missing from Gorr. He didn't interact with any of the heroes. He had one scene where he truly interacted with them, and they didn't say anything to him. He just said, "I'm gonna tell you a monologue of my sad story," but he didn't make them question themselves. He didn't make them feel like, "Hey, why do I feel like why is he doing this?"
How are you helping the people? How are you being a god?
They never had a moment where they had
in the Shadow Realm. They had a whole scene on that.
They
were all tied up.
The tentacle scene.
Tied up and like mouth, and then he was just like, "I'm not gonna let you talk. You're gonna just hear me talk."
To me, that's a little bit more frightening because like you're not able to combat. You're kind of helpless in the fact that you can't communicate. You can't express yourself. So you have to now listen to this villain and kind of read you and tell you what is going on, maybe like even in your mind, and you can't even formulate a way to combat that. So in a way, you're kind of like helpless to not even be able to argue what you're saying.
He made Tessa Thompson cry.
I do believe he was scary in those scenes for sure.
He was scary, but I don't feel.
In a way, I kind of got Purple Man vibes from him, if that makes sense. Where you
Purple Man?
Oh
no!
No! Calm down, everybody. I'm just trying to say, like, in the sense that, like, you're kind of helpless in his grip, and you can't really communicate or express how you're really feeling because he doesn't let you have that. He doesn't let you even combat that.
But he has to restrain you to do that compared to someone like Thanos, where he's not covering your mouth or anything. He's
no. Other Purple Man.
Wait, what
no,
Purple Man?
From Jessica Jones.
But here's the difference. I feel like the point of not having power, like the point of power structures, especially with like relationships and like interpersonal relationships, was like very explored in that show. They showed Jessica, who was the only one able to combat him and his power in that show, like constantly fighting with him, constantly dealing with if she should listen to him or if she should just kill him or if she should, do something else entirely. I feel like Gorr didn't give the heroes anything, but I think the bigger issue here is that I felt, and this is sliding in through, I don't feel like the heroes had an arc for like a clear arc for Gorr to question. I feel like Gorr was an interesting idea, but because he didn't tie back into the arcs that they set up for Thor and Jane in the movie, it kind of just, there was no reason for him to interact with them and question them and make them feel and make them look into themselves to find any answers.
I hear Nino on his point, because by the end of the film, the biggest thing for Gorr, Gorr was left behind by the gods. And when he does interact with one god, he kind of laughs at his face and, doesn't help him at all. So by the end of the film, Gorr is supposed to challenge Thor, who is a god, and all other gods, whoever encounter Gorr, and challenge them to be better than this dude who left him stranded. Do you feel Thor understood that lesson? No. I don't think he necessarily did. I think by the end of the film...
How can you learn the lesson if you're never told it?
Well, that's the thing. Gorr is the only one who learned a lesson,
Imagine if...
No, but I think that's... Sorry, go ahead.
Imagine in those scenes with Gorr, if he not only told them, but then he said, what about you? I've watched you for a couple years now, and I kept my eye on you, but you don't seem to know who you are. You seem to keep saving people, but do you really help them? Or are you just trying to fulfill something within yourself, like a selfish wanting to find to yourself?
Selfish God.
Which is what Thor was hinting at the beginning of the film, where he's like, I need to find myself. But ultimately, maybe Gorr could have, his interactions with Gorr could have made him introspect and be like, I don't need to find myself. I need to go and protect the people that need protecting, which is ultimately where we end off in the movie.
Yeah, but
I just don't feel like it was clear.
I'm not sure, because I feel like we got that in like the first couple of Thor movies of like, oh, like I'm the god of the people, but I'm also a very selfish god. Like I'm very young and I don't know what I'm doing. And so like we got that in the first one. And then like in the third one, like we also saw like I am a god of the people, because of Asgard is in a place as a people. So I'm here to like protect the people. And then at the end of Endgame, he's like, you know what? Because I know my place as a leader, I'm not what these people need right now. You are what these people need. And so I'm giving the reins to you. So I think like that was like a pretty big move on his part. So that way he can kind of figure out what he's doing and like who is Thor if he's not God of Thunder. Like I think that's what his self-actualization journey was kind of about. And in this movie, in that scene that's like behind me, when he goes to, I can't remember the name of it, not Olympus, but
Omnipotent City.
Omnipotent City. When he goes there, he realizes the exact lesson that Gorr was trying to teach, that the gods are only in it for themselves, and they're not really going to like help out. They're not going to be there for the people.
So that's a great point. But Omnipotent City comes in, like they leave Omnipotent City, and Thor learns that lesson halfway into the movie, not at the climax, not at any point where he has to make a choice, or at the end scene where he has to talk to Gorr and actually talk with him.
There's not a sense of Thor taking everything that Gorr has done and like being like, gods, y'all need to do better, But it's interesting because Thor, like you said, Darce, Thor already came to that whole I need to stand by the people and do what's best for the people in the previous Thor movies. So his journey is not necessarily wrapped in with Gorr's journey. Thor's end goal here is it's love. Love conquers all. Dr. Jace's favorite theme. Love conquers all. Isn't that your favorite? Don't you love it when they go to love? And love conquers all.
If only they would have used us with that.
No, I'm kidding, because you don't like that. You always say you don't like that.
Oh, yes, correct. Yes, obviously. That's what we were alluding to.
Oh my gosh. Just forget it.
But they teased us with that with the title, Love and Thunder, like obviously.
Well, the title has like a double meaning, because her name, Gorr's daughter's name, was Love the whole time. That was her name.
Yeah.
I just realized, you know how the trailers gave like an 80s vibe?
Yes.
Like the whole movie? Aside from Guns N' Roses, playing the entire time. Was there like really an 80s vibe to the?
And I will. So
he had the outfit in the beginning.
Yes, and then that's it.
That was it. That was all he got. The colors were bright.
Someone was telling me that there is like if your movie has to be based off of like a time period, then it's probably because like the writing and like everything else on it is on the weaker end. People may chastise me for saying this, but Wonder Woman 1984, it was more of a period piece, and it was like you didn't really get too much of a good story from it because like they kind of used the period as like a crutch for the movie. This one was really cool because they didn't use that time period as a crutch. They just used elements in in the themes and the costumes and the music and all that, and I enjoy that way more than if we were like taken back to like 1980s.
Yeah, I think the film was going for more of an homage to, and I specifically think of Clash of the Titans type of homage. It was a pilgrimage. It was very similar to like the Odyssey. Is it the Odyssey, the one with Jason or Odysseus? Odysseus, right?
Odysseus is
on the boat, right? And
Yes.
it goes to the various islands. I feel that's what it was more of an homage to, which, and again, the original Clash of the Titans came out in the 80s. That's what I feel was going on here, because they have the encounter with the monsters, they have the encounter with the gods, and the encounter with the evil being. That's what I thought the 80s vibe was going for, and I think they nailed that. I think that vibe is clear, and it works. It works for Thor. Like if Ragnarok was kind of like 80s sci-fi, this is more like 80s adventure mysticism type of kind of going on here. And I think it works for Thor. I don't think it works
To be honest,
Captain Marvel.
outside
yeah,
of
I mean, sure.
I mean,
outside of
it was a 90s piece, so.
Captain. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking Miss Marvel. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Captain Marvel. It took place in the 90s, so they made a blockbuster reference.
Yes, correct. Yeah, no, that
It
didn't.
was so
But no,
worth
that's
it.
what
why that
Darce was
movie's 10
saying.
out of 10.
But no, Captain Marvel is what Darce is saying with
No,
Wonder
yeah.
Woman. Yeah,
Right.
it's not right. There you go.
Got it.
So do you at least, do we all buy into Gorr? Gods are hypocrites. Let me kill them all. Let me go wish for all of them to be dead. Is that a good enough villain plot for you?
I feel
It
like his
is.
origin's kind of rushed.
Yeah,
I-
his origin
I-
is weak.
His origin, I mean, because he stumbles. I don't know. Maybe we technically got what, like maybe 10-ish minutes of Gorr in the very beginning. Maybe I would have wanted 15, maybe 20, just to flesh out this part, because I feel like, and I'm gonna go back to Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi had a great main villain where you can relate somewhat to the main villain, but still realize he's wrong though. He's wrong. And the journey that the main character goes through to try and make them see the light, I think it's fantastic. You okay, Nino?
No, because you want to know something? You just reminded me of something.
Shrek.
You know what? Now since
Oh.
you mentioned that, let's peel back the layers here. But something that I noticed, and with Phase 4 specifically, is that all the name villains have all either been under control of something or under the influence of something.
Yes.
Taskmaster was
Wanda, Gorr,
Shang-Chi.
Taskmaster was literally
Taskmaster.
controlled.
Sure. Yep. Sure.
Shang-Chi's dad was literally being controlled
By
Yeah.
the voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Spider-Man: No Way Home. Some of the villains were literally being influenced by either their psychosis or their
The inhibitor chip.
the inhibitor chip, and that was the whole
It's
point
gone
because because they had to save them. So now I'm
Is that a
wondering-
cop out?
I don't know if it's a cop out.
I immediately picked up on it. So I feel you, because when they introduced the blade and they were like, this blade makes you want to kill the gods. I
It's
was
just
like,
laying there.
no, come on.
It's just laying there. The god that just killed the guy that tried to use it on him. He just killed him, and it's just there. I hate that. I hate that.
Imagine if we got instead of 10 minutes or 8 minutes, however, I think it was more like 8. It was definitely not 10 minutes at the beginning.
Yeah,
but
10 is max.
imagine if we got 15 minutes and then, the blade was already calling him. That's what led him to the god, right? So imagine.
Yes.
Imagine if the blade went into his hands and we got a scene of the literal blade being like, they don't care, like, whispering to him and saying like, they don't care about you, or, are you going to let them take up my vow, take up my,
I think
take
I would have
up
liked
my
that.
oath. And then he chooses to take up the oath.
I would be more convinced. I would be more convinced that he would hate God, because he encounters one god, obviously one of his gods, that rules like his dominion, whatever.
Actually, no, that was his god. They worship that god specifically.
Okay,
that's why he had the necklace.
Okay,
yeah.
no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a god or the god of his area, of his religion, and based on that, he jumps from, wow, my god is a piece of shit. And he jumps from that to all gods must die. I think I would have liked a little bit of the whispering. I don't know.
You see, his background is garbage, but I liked how they did that with the gods a little bit, because the god was based on the Greek gods, and the Greek gods historically have been douchebags.
Wait. Which one?
I think he was
his
supposed
main
to be
god.
He was supposed to be he was supposed to be Dionysus.
Either that or Apollo.
That one?
Yes,
The one that...
yes, because he's in the credits. He's credited as Dionysius.
The god of like food and wine.
He's the god of wine. So that was a Greek god.
Yeah, it was a Greek god. That's why he was dressed like. You saw the thing behind him.
It's so much worse.
Now I have to agree with Toasty. His backstory was trash, because now you gotta wonder, was it the gods? Was it Dionysus' fault that he didn't bring rain? Or was it this stupid man's fault for worshiping Dionysus in the
Thank
first
you.
place?
Exactly. Because these gods are douchebags.
Where is the rain?
Yeah, the gods are douchebag historically. It was not the first year that God was a douchebag. They know this.
Yeah, but
so why?
He's not from Earth. He's from another
No,
planet.
but even if they're not,
gods can, as the movie would let you believe, the gods can hop around wherever they want.
Exactly. So it's been shown that the gods are douchebag, and this guy was a douchebag. Like, for some reason, they worship this douchebag for years, and it's to the point where he instantly recognized the god, which shows that the gods, at one point or another, did show himself to his civilization. Well, they had a little picture of him.
The bracelet.
Yeah, the bracelet, which shows that they knew what the god looked like. You tell me this guy at no point showed that he was a douchebag?
Gods take on different names based on who's worshiping them. So it makes sense if this is Dionysius, he could have just had a different name.
You see, historically, you could argue that with like the Roman gods like Jupiter and Zeus. But it seems that in the Marvel universe, they only have one name, because Thor calls Zeus Zeus.
Yes, and he also says Zeus was my hero, which is,
Exactly. So it shows that the gods only have one specific name. They don't change name or hop around. Obviously, if they mess around and introduce like Jupiter, Saturn, and all of the Roman gods, then you have more clownery. But Thor is known as Thor on Earth, and he's also known as Thor everywhere in the universe. So Asgard is known as Asgard. Valhalla is known as Valhalla. It's universal so far. So
the same thing could be said with spoilers for the end credits, but with Hercules, because Hercules is his Roman name. It's actually Heracles.
Ooh. They got that wrong. They just got that wrong.
But they only did that because Hercules is the famous name, I guess, for the movie. So
Hercules is a more well-known name than Heracles.
Hercules, don't y'all mean Huncules?
Absolutely not. Enough.
And Hercules is also in the comics too. Like, he's a pretty
Hercules was bound to show up. The moment they mentioned Zeus, you knew Hercules was going to show up. Now that actor, for anyone, just real quick,
Brad Goldstein, he's from Ted Lasso.
Winner. You, DoctaReeka, because I did not recognize him. I did not. I was like, who is that? I don't know. I haven't watched Ted Lasso, so.
Oh, Ted Lasso! I watched that show. That's a good show.
That's from Ted Lasso.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him.
What I was gonna say is, I think I've noticed a pattern that the Marvel villains that I've connected to the most, or the ones in which I've liked the most, tend to have more of, like, there's more of a relationship, whether it's a familial connection, most of the time it is a familial connection, to some of our like main characters. So you have folks that, like Thanos does have like a vested kind of connection directly to some of the characters, like within Guardians of the Galaxy. You have Loki, you have Killmonger, you have, you know, within Shang-Chi as well, that when it comes to villains that they have to create that don't already have like a built-in connection in some way, I think that's where I sometimes find things lacking, which I think is some of what you all are alluding to, some of it not quite, as far as the way that I kind of perceive it. Because I didn't have a huge issue with Christian Bale and in this particular villain. I think at times though it felt like he was in a different movie, and that may have just been performance choice. I think it looked like he was having a ball. Okay, looks like he was having a great time. It was a good performance. I also did feel like when he was showing up, it felt like something different was happening compared to some of the other parts of the movie, which is one of my critiques. Is like, I loved some of those rom-com elements. I imagine maybe we'll get to that. Really appreciated that part of the movie, had a great time with that, but that felt vastly different than what we saw like in the Shadow Realm or what Christian Bale was giving us. And so I think Marvel, you know, there's some TV shows I haven't watched yet, so I imagine there's some stuff I just don't know in terms of other villains that have maybe popped up. But I have noticed that if they don't already have like a built-in relationship, because frankly, Tale as old as time in terms of family conflict and what you can breed out of that. That is literally my entire job, is listening to people's connection and the ways in which that causes conflict. It's very, very easy to write stories about that. So I get why those are their strongest villains, but you can't rely on that forever. I think I imagine a host of villains within the comics that folks would really like to see on screen. So they're going to have to figure out a way to actually make this work, because I don't know if they always have. So
they definitely can't lean always into that. But I agree with what you're saying. When you really think about it, there is a connectivity piece. If they take out Dionysius and make it maybe a flashback and it's Frigga or it's Odin, you know, you might have, you know, that connectivity that might make it, you know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And I totally agree with you, DoctaReeka. Like the familial connections, like even having like Bucky in there, like he didn't necessarily have like, he wasn't a family member, but he was like, you know, a little bit he knew Steve beforehand.
You can have friendships, can be the connectivity. That relationship, a direct relationship, always will make it probably more compelling than here's this guy hell bent on killing gods.
But I had more to say. I had more to say.
I was gonna move on from Gorr.
I just had more to say, and you will listen to me.
Would you like to be the final little bit on Gorr?
Sure, I'll be the final one.
Okay.
But and it's just something quick. I think it's a lot more interesting when stories like this can use vehicles the characters can be vehicles for ideologies. So like, you know, instead of it being like a very personal story or, you know, things like that, Gorr could have represented like, oh, I'm fighting for this ideology because I think it's right. And then that's where the conflict naturally comes into play. Like it doesn't need to have the, you know, the familiar to go back to it. I think they had the perfect setup. If you gave me like the same thing on paper, I would have been like, it's great. I just don't think they executed it well in terms of Gorr. But I do agree. Christian Bale knows how to act. I just wish they gave him better material to act. So
I think we can all agree on that. He was definitely fun. I'm sad to see him go, another Marvel villain thrown in the gutter, but I guess he had a bit of a redemption, but we'll see how that plays. Maybe we'll get more Gorr with love later on. Let's kind of, you know, let's get into some of, you know, these can be, I'm sure these won't be as long as our previous conversations. Let's get into just, you know, there's Valkyrie and Korg. Did y'all enjoy their back? Were they given as much to do? Korg's the narrator. He's fun, of course. He's just kind of there. Valkyrie too. I thought they would do more with Valkyrie.
I agree. I felt like we were missing out on some Valkyrie moments. I wanted more Valkyrie moments.
They definitely just gave her kind of the action bits, and her witticism is there. I don't really see her liking being king. It doesn't necessarily feel like
she kind of feels indifferent to it. Like
she said she likes being king. I don't buy it. But yes,
I don't.
She wants to be back in battle. She wants to be
Right.
back in battle, she says. And they also mentioned she would have kind of a love thing going on.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. I didn't.
Wait. They like in anticipation for the movie, the people that
She was gonna have a love arc. She was gonna have
Really?
a love arc that
Wow.
addresses. Yeah, and the
I
most
didn't
they
know that.
said was what? She's like on the same team as Thor. She kisses the hand of one of the Greek things.
Oh, okay,
They
right.
didn't
But remember, because
That's not a story though. That's just like-
this is remember because it's gay. That's as much story you're gonna get from Disney.
Yes, the mention of course, as per usual, the
well,
lost girlfriend.
Korg.
She can't
Korg.
actually exist.
Listen, Korg is an alien species that literally teaches you how they mate. And so for you to put
And it's
gender-
male on male.
there's no gender in that thing. Who said that he's a
He
male?
said they
say
make
they're
a
asexual.
boy. They said they make a boy.
No, he said they make a dude, and is a dude a boy? Arguably yes, and arguably no.
I'm pretty
Either
sure
way-
he said boy.
Did he say? I thought he said boy. I think he said boy.
He
said
did say
dude.
boy. He did
He
not
said
say
dude.
dude.
A rock
No,
boy.
he did say boy because he mentioned he had
He
two
said
dads.
boy.
Yeah, he said
Yes,
he had
he
two
did.
dads. Yeah,
He did say that. He directly
Dad,
said
but
two
they
dads.
never introduced a mom. They never introduced the idea.
He doesn't have a mom.
There's no females.
Exactly.
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 Is it considered gay?
It's not gay.
Yes.
It's an alien. There doesn't have to be two different gendered alien species in order to procreate, and that's what he was trying to
If
allude
he
at.
says he has two dads, that means there is another gender, or the
No, not
equivalent to a
necessarily.
No,
female.
I think they were alluding that there's only one gender in their race.
You know,
yeah.
maybe they're
Because
just queer.
He
Like,
didn't
you
even
know?
say it about just his two dads. He made it seem like that's the way they procreate. That two rock dudes come together and hold hands
Yes,
over the
you're right.
That's the way they made it sound like. So,
But it's the fact that he said boy would imply there is, I guess, another gender.
oh, I
But
guess
that would
okay.
also
okay.
assume that based on other genders, they would be based on other species, they would be considered boys.
Why didn't he say a rock child? He could have said rock
he
child.
did it. He was very
He
specific.
said rock boy.
He was.
We
very
never saw a
specific.
raw girl, so as of right now, we just have to assume that
But he
it's raw
fell in
boys.
love too. He fell in love too with another
But now,
Dwayne.
Dwayne. Oh my God,
He
That's
had a rock mustache.
he sure did.
I like
He
that.
That's crazy. I can't
was
believe
silly.
they threw that in there.
Oh,
But
man.
definitely welcome. I love Korg. He's great. Valkyrie's still great for the little that we were given. I hope we
Yeah.
get more. Maybe like the whole town
No.
of New Asgard seems worth exploring.
No, they
Uh,
missed it with her. They gave her the Thunderbolt and she didn't do anything with it.
She
It
did
felt
She
not.
like
got caught so quick
Yeah,
by
like,
Gorr with the
it re-
Thunderbolt. And she
yeah, I
didn't
remember
do
like
anything.
they made a point like she wanted it as if she was gonna get some kind of new ability from it. No, it was just wasted. So
And then Thor uses it, and it's just like, here's another
Yeah.
weapon for Thor.
Cool.
They were
Another
kind of-
thunder weapon for the Thunder God. All
I
right.
did want to
Correct.
see a little bit more like
Damn.
ladies kicking ass. You know, like I really wanted to see more.
Why didn't
I-
they have a solo bit with Jane and the Valkyrie?
Well, they
Say
did
louder.
kick ass.
A
Hold
better
up.
one.
They did kick
Yeah,
ass.
yes.
They
I
kicked
just want
ass.
more. I just
No,
wanted
they
more.
did.
Who's-
They did.
Yeah,
But like,
who's
don't you
ass
think?
did
Don't
they
you think
kick?
don't you think that's a missed opportunity that they could have just
It
had
was.
them?
Yeah,
solo?
I wish there was a scene where Thor was the damsel.
He was
I'll say
like,
Yeah.
that
yeah,
much.
that was, oh,
Yes.
it writes itself. It writes itself. It's
I
even
mean,
part
Thor
of the
could've been
comic.
Thing.
He
Thor
would
could've been-
have been ashamed too. He'd be like, "Oh no, I can't be the damsel. What's going on?"
Thor could have been locked up by Zeus that whole sequence and just let Valkyrie
Oh
and
man,
Jane.
Oh my god,
Go
how
in.
funny would it have been if like Valkyrie and Jane did like the Thor and Loki thing where somebody get help.
Get help.
Throw
Oh,
Val-
get help.
Oh,
I think
Oh,
the thing
Tom,
was- the thing-
how did they not think of this?
the thing
I
that was
really-
disappointing is
Oh, go ahead.
I know when they first announced the movie and said Natalie Portman was coming back, they had alluded to, and I think I was cut off by my Wi-Fi, so I'm gonna repeat, even if y'all already had this conversation, but they alluded to so much that they hoped was going to be happening. The fact that like Valkyrie would be looking for a partner with the assumption that it would be a woman. Obviously, we did not see that happen. Also, they alluded to like more interactions between Jane and Valkyrie. We saw some of it. I too agree that I would have wanted more. I think there was space for that. I think, frankly, I liked their chemistry so much. I don't feel that Jane and Thor have like my favorite chemistry in the world in terms of a romantic partnership, but I really love the chemistry between Jane and Valkyrie as like platonic, like fight mate.
It was cool.
But like love that. And I think there should be more like just women as friends kicking ass.
As friends, yes.
Yeah. Along with giving Valkyrie a partner, as they had alluded to wanting to do.
Yes.
I'm guessing it got cut.
It could be the one-armed lady that we saw.
Sif.
Well,
Lady Sif.
I don't know what that is.
That's her name,
part
Sif.
of Thor's squad.
You don't need to remember. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
Korg made fun of that fact because when he was narrating the beginning portion, he was like,
all of the boys
this person
killed.
died. This person, and then when he talked about the squad, he didn't even mention their name. They're like, oh yeah, that guy died. That guy died.
That's what it was. You see, but her role was badly done too. Like she had like what, 2 minutes, 1 minute of scene.
Like,
probably
That's
less
the
than.
gripe of Thor is that like they allude to Lady Sif so much, and then they literally never use her. Like
we don't even know what Lady Sif has been
training,
doing.
the son. I forgot his name.
Heimdall's, but like what? The last time you see Lady Sif, and this is for anyone who watches it, is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That is the last time you see her.
That's not canon anymore.
Wait till Secret Wars. Secret Wars will confirm if
Secret Wars
consume your Marvel
with
products.
with S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a S.H.I.E.L.D. It's another S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Oh, okay.
We got a little tease of her and Loki. We got to see that repeat of history scene.
Oh, she was. You're right.
At the end of Thor: The Dark World, she did say that like someone needs to go and like protect the 9 realms. Someone needs.
Is that what she said?
Yeah. So she basically took up Thor's job.
Yeah.
Oh well, her appearance here was just for a joke, and it makes me think maybe that was who Valkyrie was going to have a romantic interest in. Because now they're both training the children,
right?
So it makes me think
maybe it was cut. Now that I think about
I'm thinking it was cut.
It lines up.
We'll never know.
Oh,
again, it's one of the shortest Marvel movies. I believe a lot got cut here.
Yeah, I do feel a lot got cut because there's I feel like we went to such interesting places but never spent any time in them. We went to like the city of the gods, and then they were like
one room. We were in one room.
One room, and then most of the room was spent to Zeus.
With Zeus,
like,
yes, only Zeus.
And
Russell Crowe did a good job.
Look, and for every point, for every scene that we get with Natalie Portman and Tessa Thompson together, just being we get 1 point off away from being a true feminist movie every time Zeus is involved. So that's how I felt about the movie. Every time I was like Zeus, I was like, damn it, there we go again.
Well, yes, because he has this court of women. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lost opportunity to really lean into, because I think one of the things that a lot of folks are talking about in Endgame was like you have this team up of all of like the women characters, but it also felt like, but y'all like don't really do that frequently. And so this felt like kind of shoehorning it in. And so here is a whole movie in which you really could flesh out the opportunity to really create relationships between these women within this universe, and didn't do that as much. So it felt really disappointing. Like I will take my crumbs, okay? I will eat them up, but I wanted a whole meal, okay?
Consume your Marvel product.
I think what movie is gonna. The movie that should capitalize on this, which comes out next year, the Marvels. If they don't capitalize on this, we're gonna have a major issue.
The
Why do I have to
problem with
consume
Disney-
more Marvel products
Yeah.
to get to this point, man?
This is what you sign up for.
Well, again, it's a woman at the helm of the Marvels. Here you have Taika, who I don't think is not a feminist, but he puts all the focus on Jane and Thor. That's where majority of the focus is. So,
But you can, you can definitely feel that he was really trying to include some queer
He was doing
storytelling
his
here.
best.
Oh yes.
Yes,
It was more
and
than I
feel-
anticipated.
Yeah,
Agreed.
because
But
I
it's still
felt
this much.
I just feel like you know, with Disney that they think with, and this is a clear critique, whoever if anyone from Disney is listening and you are on our side and you're on queer people's side, keep fighting, because I feel like the executives at Disney care so much about money and so much about, and they think that progress is being like, oh, but Valkyrie kissed a woman's hand. Shock and awe. Those why would you dirty queers want an actual relationship with characters?
you queers,
Go back
queers.
just go back into your little hole and die. But consume our Marvel products, because maybe we'll do it right the next time.
That's what Grandmaster wants. He wants us to consume more.
No, I'm not
Marvel
saying.
products.
No, I'm
Wait
just
till
saying.
Phase 5, guys.
That's not what well, I'm not talking as far as, you know, the whole push for inclusion. I'm talking about just, you know, if you're not satisfied with the overall film. But yes, clearly Disney.
Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to, because this could spiral into a whole nother conversation as far as, you know, Disney and what we know Disney has their own agenda.
We know how Disney can be, but I do have to say, like, the little crumbs that we got, it was a lot in this movie, and I really appreciated it. You know, we got
keep pushing, keep fighting.
Just like the colors that they use and all this stuff, like I just really appreciated
Rainbow
the
bridge?
Yeah,
the
obviously,
rainbow
but-
bridge, but also what Jane said in the very beginning when they were trying to figure out how to fight him in the shadow realm, and he was like, well, I guess I'll fight them with the rainbow, or she said something like that, like a cheesy one-liner.
Like that, yeah.
She did say something like that.
They mentioned, you know, you have Korg, that even that could allude to, you know, some sort of
It definitely does. It definitely does.
I don't think so, because he's an alien. You have Valkyrie, that is, you have those two scenes, but then they also talk and they confirmed that the person that died in her vision in Ragnarok was like someone she deeply cared for, that was like her love interest. And so, like,
oh yeah, they did
been confirming all of that. So I think that when we were first getting into this, we originally heard through theories and grapevines and rumors that Valkyrie was going to be exploring more of her bisexual.
It wasn't a rumor. It was stated. Like
it was stated. Yeah,
it was stated.
I mean, it stated that we're going to get a deeper dive into her love life, but I think it was rumors that it was going to be like alluding more to the bisexual side of it, where she was like, you know, kind of between Thor and maybe even between Jane, or a different love interest. Like, so it was kind of interesting to hear that. And then, like, even in the comic books, we have Peter Quill as a bisexual character, and like that was like really like shut down, like completely. Could be because of the main actor that's playing him, that probably doesn't want to have to go through anything like that. But I think that, like, even the little breadcrumbs that we're getting, it's nice. It would be cool to see other aspects of it. Who knows, maybe we'll get a Hulkling and Wiccan connection in Little Avengers. So
see, you're setting the expectation.
You're right.
Marvel product.
You're saying that
maybe we'll get it right this time.
Until Phase 5.
I'm just saying.
But I think I'm gonna quote DoctaReeka here, because I've taken this into like my own personal like counseling sessions, where like we can hold multiple things at the same time. Ever since I heard that, changed my life. I can hold multiple things at the same time. I can celebrate, you know, the crumbs that we get, and I can also be very critical. But I will say, if I was playing Star-Lord, I would be fighting tooth and nail to kiss Crimson Hemsworth. I would want
Okay.
Jay and no, listen.
That's a lovely point. That's a
in Darce's scene specifically. Period.
Yes, I would be like,
Yeah.
Why can't you just put me in the movie? Like, put me in the movie, and I will suffer as a gay character, as a bisexual character, if it means I get to fawn over Chris Hemsworth a lot in this movie. That's it. That's all I want.
I'm just
Thank
saying,
you.
go ahead and cast me, Tessa and Natalie and Chris and Brett. Like, look, it's the wonderful joys of being queer. Come on.
The thirst is alive and
It is. It's
thriving.
alive and well. And I was just about to say what you just shared. That
Isn't Tessa part of the community too?
She is part of the community.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
She's I forgot.
I think she was dating Janelle Monáe at one point.
Okay, got it.
Yes. I want to move us forward. But this was great. This was great. Let's hope we get again of the loaf of bread. No more breadcrumbs. How about the children? The children were a big part of this film. I did not see this coming. Heimdall has a son.
I don't like how that was just randomly thrown in.
It was so random.
Well, and it was done in a weird way
smart.
where it was like the hologram. It just appeared out of nowhere. Like, oh, hey, Thor,
It's
Heimdall's
Astrid.
son.
It's
like,
Heimdall's son.
What?
But he was from Asgard. We have to assume he married somebody.
No.
The man could not have been at the tower like a priest the entire time.
That was his shtick. That was his shtick.
Correct.
He was the gatekeeper.
He was the gatekeeper that worked at 9 to 5. Then went home.
No.
He does not work. He guards the Bifrost. He does not come back home.
But we do have to realize that in the third movie, he was a refugee. He was running away. He was trying to protect people, and so like he could have found love.
So he had time to procreate. Running from hell.
I would say maybe. He's.
I think I said the man was a monk.
He's not a monk.
The first Thor film would make you think he stands there at all times.
And then
after the second one,
I get it. You're judging him from I'm Heimdall, I guard the Bifrost, right? That's him in the Bifrost and Thor 1 and 2.
Throughout the MCU, he slowly becomes more human-like and more personable.
Darce is saying maybe during that time he probably knocked someone up.
And I would have loved if they just said it.
I wish they
correct. Because the fact that Heimdall has a son, it's just like, okay.
It's probably because they didn't think about it until this movie. That's probably the sad part. Because they wanted to have the end credit scene. And because of the end credit scene, they probably thought about the son.
Thank you for saving my son. Yeah.
I don't need all that. I really don't.
Thank you, Jade Foster.
I was about to say, I don't think that's the biggest deal is the fact that he has a son. I think the kids were cute. I thought the Thor scene where they got the powers and the bear.
That was cute.
So,
yes.
But here's my issue, because again, if you told me that was in the movie, you put it on paper, it's a great concept. Thor realizing that he can't do it himself, literally imparting part of himself into the children, into the next generation.
Did you see how it did? I'm sorry, Nino. Did you see how he did it when the camera shot? It was like Idrisil.
Idrisil, the tree. Yeah.
That was cool. That was cool. I like that.
Cool. And then at the end, him literally becoming a caretaker for a child, literally the next generation, finding a purpose. If you told me that was in the film, I would have been like, wow, that sounds amazing. I just am disappointed with how it was handled, because it felt very disconnected from other parts of the film.
See, that makes sense.
He has
it does make sense. I just don't think the Heimdall, we needed a whole backstory on his son. I don't think that's.
Oh no! It was just silly. Honestly, you know what it was
about Heimdall.
You know what it was for me. It was the hologram. It was the hologram. That was the first time we saw him, and it was through that silly, dumb hologram of the head.
It wasn't your power, yeah.
I didn't like it.
Power. And then he said,
he's a
and then
kid.
Axel,
he's testing it out. His power.
Okay, but then Axel said,
"Introduce him earlier. You don't have to introduce him through this."
Yeah, but I think what the nail in the coffin is that it was like, Thor, it's me, Heimdall's son. And I'm like,
yes, I didn't. That was weird.
That's because it's a kid actor.
No,
that's why we don't like kid actors.
Listen,
Cord pointed that out.
They could have just done something silly. Thor's walking through New Asgard, bumps into a kid. Oh, hey, Heimdall's son, what's up? Done. That's it.
We didn't need Asgard that long.
I just
Okay,
did not like
it's
the silliness of the floating head.
It's
It was
simply
weird.
show us, not tell us. Show us, not tell us, because at this point, hey, there goes Wong's son. He's been at Kamartage this whole time.
Oh
And
wow!
I don't need a 30-minute explanation.
No
on
one's
all-
asking for a
You
30-minute.
just say it.
I don't need a
He
30.
could
Yeah,
have
I'm
bumped
not
into
saying
him
30
early
minutes.
in the movie and thrown a baseball at him or something.
No,
Hey, there goes
I don't care.
there goes
Say
Mordo's
it.
son. Mordo's son's been here this whole time.
Or even you could have, when you cut to Tessa Thompson, you could have a moment with like connecting with like the mom and Axel, and then being like, oh, like just reflecting on like
His
times
eyes
that,
are
let's say-
coming in.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah,
don't
something
need
like
that.
that.
I don't
But
really
it's
care.
but
I'm
it's so
sorry.
quick, because then it just feels like
Are you Nick Fury? I'm your son, John Boyega. I'm here to be.
Oh my god.
Can we talk about the
Anything
kid that had the magic wand and was
Yeah.
sucking up the aliens with her magic wand?
Okay,
He's
but what
not
about the
magic
kid
wand.
with
I
the
care about the
bunny?
magic
The
wand.
bunny?
The little
The
stuffed
magic
bunny, whatever it was.
All of it was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Them
All
kids
of it
were
was
good.
wonderful.
They
It was
were getting on
silence.
with the aliens with their little the toys. It's cute.
Can this be? I just feel they've been doing this in a bunch of these Phase 4 projects. They are really starting to allude to a Young Avengers type of thing going on here. Because out of all, Love, of course, now Love is definitely gonna be part of
Which,
that.
by the way,
Heimdall's
that's
son,
Chris Hemsworth's real daughter.
that's his real
Yes,
daughter. Yes,
is.
very nice.
That is
Wait,
his daughter.
Love is Chris Hemsworth's daughter?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, the girl
Mhm.
at the end.
That is amazing.
Actually,
Again, things on paper I would love, but
props to her because whatever accent Christian Bale was doing, she nailed it. I don't know if it was like a Welsh or if he was trying to go Australian or
it?
something. Oh, I mean, he's from Wales, but she
Right.
nailed his accent. Whatever that accent is, I was like, damn, she's good.
I need
she
to
sounds
listen
like she
to it
could be-
again. Wow.
Oh yeah, go listen to it again. But yeah, it just feels like it's the past. We thought the passing of the torch would be to Jane, and I guess this was a really nice subversion of expectation because I for one did not see this coming at all. A child wielding any sort of power of Thor, I didn't, and I really like this. I for one am team Love. I love that
yes.
for Thor
ima-
too. Like
But
it's Big
But
Daddy.
imagine if in the movie with Thor's arc about finding himself, he realizes that, instead of trying to focus on finding himself, he should protect the future that's right in front of him, thus aka protecting the children. And then
It
at
would've
the
been-
end he could even say, I'm the god of thunder and children.
Nino, I
Character
see your
fitting.
visions. I see it. It works
they
perfectly.
need you in the writing room at Marvel.
Yes, they do. They really do. I could have done so much better writing this movie, but that's just me.
We
Did-
all
did-
could have been there.
Did you guys like the whole Mjolnir and Stormbreaker?
Yes,
relationship?
100%.
Yeah.
That was one of the best parts in the movie.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's rom-com. They were characters. They were literally characters.
Every time you saw Stormbreaker just easing in to the shot.
Or even when he was talking about talking inside of the ship, Stormbreaker, like the ship kind of like stumbled a little bit
Oh,
because he was
right.
talking to the Mjolnir. Hilarious, man.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
I thought it was Taika Gold.
And
I
I was gonna say we hadn't talked about the uncredited cameos that we got within the acting
oh,
And
Oh.
gameplay.
super.
Let's,
So we got Luke Hemsworth, who
Luke
is
Hemsworth.
Chris's
the
older
middle?
brother.
Oh, he's the older brother. Okay.
Yeah, Matt Damon
Again,
and Melissa
Yes.
McCarthy.
Oh, and well, Sam
That's-
Neill, the great Sam Neill.
Oh,
Yep.
Melissa McCarthy. That was who it was. Who played Hella. That's funny.
And her husband.
Yes.
What did he do?
Yeah, he was a
He's
stage
the director.
manager or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that was a nice little surprise of like just a cameo that's not really related to Marvel. It's just like people, because my theater reacted. They were like, "Oh yeah!" Like,
No,
so
it
I
was.
think, you know,
It's
Yeah.
funny because I'm thinking like, oh wow, it's Matt Damon and it's the other Hemsworth. Who are they gonna get to play Hella? Because they're talking about the Hella story. So who's Hella? And then bam, Melissa McCarthy. I like that.
Very random, but it works.
I loved it. And
I mean,
I also want to talk about another hilarious character that was added into this movie. I was cut off a little bit earlier on in the podcast.
go ahead.
Those screaming goats were so funny. Anytime they appeared on screen, I was dying laughing. And I don't know if it's because like we saw it a little bit later or if it's just like such stupid humor that I'm a child and I loved it. I literally almost cried myself into peeing myself when they got to the Shadow Realm and they hit that planet.
I thought they were dead. I thought they were dead.
I was laughing so hard.
They hit it straight on. I thought that was it.
It was the perfect balance because when I first heard them scream, I was like, "Oh God, this is
the shtick.
Is this gonna be a whole film anytime these goats are on screen?" And it was, but it was not. It was not overbearing. It was like,
we could only use the meat, and then they stopped screaming and immediately
that was funny. I like that.
It makes me wish though they gave more screen time to Valkyrie's Pegasus. I will say that they could have had some.
It was in the movie, right? It was.
Yeah,
it appeared.
That's what Mighty Thor used to get into the final battle. She jumped to the portal using that. I mean,
so was that alluded to in any of the previous movies that the horse can open portals?
Well, the fact that the horse is here at all, I guess you have to.
I mean, lore-wise, the Valkyrie used to ride the horses and appear from the sky into the battlefield, so we had to assume they were able to fast travel.
Portals in the sky.
Yeah,
I'm gonna assume there's a whistle too, a distinct whistle that can call the Pegasus, just like
the goat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. But nice additions, and again, it makes it feel more like like kind of the Odyssey going on here. They're being charioted by these two cosmic goats. It works. So let's see. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
The Eternity.
Oh well, the ending sequence. R.I.P. Jane Foster. Is love the eternity? These are questions that we're now. Is Gorr redeemed? The ending. Let's talk about the ending. Are you? I mean, I don't think Jane's dead because Valhalla is a thing, and
it's just a different realm. Yeah,
it's a different realm. It's a plane of existence.
Moon Knight alluded to it. Yes,
she died, but she got a god's death.
She got a god's that she went to, which is weird because like I thought Moon Knight alluded to you had to believe in the religion, right?
She became Thor.
But did she believe in Norse mythology?
I mean, if you
I guess she saw Thor. She's like, it must be real.
If you did the knick-knack paddywhack with Thor, it's very hard not to believe in Norse mythology.
I believe these gods.
Did she technically die on the battlefield?
If Thor is breaking your bed,
she did. You have to die in battle.
She didn't die in battle.
Nino, let me stop you right now. She did die in battle. It was a battle going on. Did she succumb to a wound from that battle? No.
I mean, what about Lady Sif then?
Lady Sif was alive.
We don't know how long.
But remember, she wanted to die. She wanted to die.
We don't know how long
she wasn't dying.
The battle was concluded, and we don't know how long she was laying there for. You could assume she was probably laying there. God knows how long.
DoctaReeka, pull yourself together.
That must suck to be.
It is just Chris Hemsworth hanky spanky. It is not that serious.
Also, in the first Thor film, she said, "Oh my God!" At that point, that is the God she's right.
Oh, that's the God she believes.
That's the God she was looking at. That's the God she believes in.
Yeah, they were playing Hide the Hammer.
Do you think we'll see Valhalla again?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, you don't show Valhalla and not do anything with it.
Yeah.
In what capacity though? Will they be able to break the plane?
Yeah, they showed Heimdall.
Yeah, and I feel like all of the ancient heroes from Asgard are in Valhalla. Those are a bunch of heroes probably in the Marvel universe that they can bring back.
Well, all Thor's friends are there too.
All of Thor's friends are there.
Yes.
And any other past hero or any other past Thors might be there.
And also, if you think about it, like if they're dealing with gods, there is always going to be a god of death. I know we already had it with Hela, but there's multiple gods of death out there. There has to be someone that rules over the dead. You know what I mean? And I could just see that there's like a very interesting story, especially if you're getting chased by Hercules, like around the universe, where death has been like chained up, or death has been like, not to take from Percy Jackson, but death has been missing, and then suddenly all the dead come back. That's an interesting thing, and it would be interesting for, you know, I just think if they included it, and also they got Heimdall back for it, so that makes me think that something's important is happening.
Well, by definition, Loki is there too. No,
because Loki's in the alternate universe. Not
no.
Loki
That's a different Loki.
Neck snapped by Thanos.
The Loki that got his neck snapped by Thanos, correct?
But we have to argue that Loki died a hero, and he was still not a scumbag. Was he hero worthy to go to Valhalla?
Yes.
Because it's not just anybody that
he
goes.
He did it in defense of the people that were on the ship. He wasn't just fighting.
And that was a moment where he finally admitted that he was Odinson. You know?
Okay, you know what? Yeah, Loki might be there.
Did.
Yeah,
right.
But I don't think he'll come back in a Thor. Like, I think that version of Loki will, you know, if we see him, he's not going to play a big role, because I think that they're going to be doing so much more interesting
with the other
stuff
Loki.
with Loki
Right.
like stuff. So,
Well, I think we're gearing towards an Asgard series. They have the Wakanda series in the works.
Oh,
It naturally seems like.
Oh wait. Are you saying there is one, or this is where we would?
No, we know there's a Wakanda series.
No,
but
no,
I'm
no.
just saying
Asgard is what I mean.
Asgard, yeah, because we have the.
rumors. It was floating around that Asgard.
consume my product.
But we just we have Valhalla, we have the children, we have mainstays like Sif and Valkyrie. It just seems natural that this would be.
Mainstays. That's a very big word for a very small character, Stiff. That's all I'm saying.
If they give her the Asgard show, there you go.
And
I mean,
that's what they could develop with Valkyrie.
If they give her the Asgard show, I guarantee you that show's tanky. But like,
wait, give like Lady Sif is the main lead of
yes, that show.
Well, no, I think Tessa Thompson.
Tessa would lead it.
And well, maybe if they want to
And they
include
pay her.
Valhalla, Idris and Jane, but I don't know if they'd be down.
Can they
for a
pay
series.
him with his busy schedule?
Can they pay her?
Yeah, and Tessa Thompson's on Westworld.
Oh, she
Yeah.
is?
Yeah, she's been on Westworld.
Oh, wow.
It
I did
seems
not
that
know she
Lady
was on
Sif will
Westworld.
be getting the Asgard.
We are again the Asgard.
Meek is there. Meek is whatever his name is, the scissor dude. He's there too. Can they pay him?
I mean, he's a CG monster. Yeah.
It's a motion capture. So
Okay, like it speaks alien jibber jabber. So
I'm just saying that's a character. That's a character. So I'm sorry. We'll go.
Oh no, I was just saying Eternity. I don't know if you were gonna.
Oh,
mention that.
Eternity. Yes. Is love eternity? Is love is eternity reborn as love? They showed the reflection of eternity taking the form of love.
The reflection, but I don't remember Gorr having like laser beams come out of his eyes. So since they never really showed any of that, and then she did that, it kind of makes you think like, okay, maybe she does have like celestial powers. Like,
wait, she did?
Yeah, she like blasted like.
When he was telling her to put on the shoes,
right,
like
the
a laser
pan. I was thinking of when her eyes just glowed, like when.
I'm guessing that's eternity, right? That's eternity.
I think it's safe to assume that that's eternity in there.
Actually, no, it might be because
the silhouette of the eternity. It looked like Galactus silhouette a little bit because it had like the horn.
It looked like a what are they called, Darce? You know what
Celestials.
They're called? Yes, Celestials.
Celestials, yes.
Well, the Celestials were at Omnipotent City.
Yes, some of them, yes.
Right.
No, they were also in the place where they went, because when the head fell and Thor cut the head,
statue,
crushing the kids, there were 6 eyes.
But those were statues. Those weren't actually.
No, those were
Yeah.
statues, but it was statues of
Of
Celestials.
Celestials.
So did
And
Eternity?
also the living tribunal that was there floating.
Yes.
There was a couple of other
And
things that were there, and
So-
that the shape though that Eternity has in the comic book, it
Who
looks
comes
like that.
first?
there's actually another scene when the girl was walking up toward the dad, or Gorr, whatever the villain name was. Her shadow was Eternity.
Yeah.
It took the form of her shadow. It was a quick scene because you saw her hair flowing, but it was Eternity as a little girl, and it panned up and showed the girl.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's why we think that.
Yeah,
Eternity-
and once he made the wish, Eternity disappeared.
yeah,
Yeah, you see, I truly wish that there wasn't a sword aspect, like, oh, the sword is influencing him. I wish that Gorr could have came to the realization himself. And
Man,
was
that's
like,
what I think of Wanda. Wow.
but
Interesting.
Here's the difference.
you know, they got you.
Where is this going?
Here's the difference. What do you call it? Doctor Strange had an arc in Multiverse of Madness. Thor did not have an arc in this movie.
I'm
was
just
just like,
talking
I'm gonna
about
go
Wanda.
find
Thor's arc was that he went from dad bod to just a dad.
Mm,
That's
Dark,
good.
you know, physically,
Yeah.
not
And
not
mentally.
spiritually.
And mentally.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
he-
love. Love conquers all. Love
Oh
wins.
my God.
And
Okay, but let's talk. That's what you're going with. That's what you're going with the theme of this movie. That's what
that's what the
you're going
movie
with.
would have you, but that was what the movie would have
It's
you
in the
believe.
title.
Okay,
Love is the theme.
you're right, but let's see what the setup is for that. Because at the beginning, Thor is saying that he's feeling lost. He's feeling like he needs to find himself, and he's
And then-
doing like
What did
And
the
then-
Guardians just say after that though? They were like, you really need to find something to love in order for you
Okay.
to like.
It
have-
might be shitty, but it's worth the shitty feeling.
okay, right. So now let's look at the villain, the antagonist, right, of the movie. Now let's look at them, how they compare to Thor getting to that arc. If the antagonist is saying that all gods are selfish, all gods only care about themselves, they don't care about the people that worship them, and they deserve to die, how does that relate to love conquers all?
Because you stop Gorr by making him realize what he really wanted was not to kill the gods. It was for the love of his daughter.
And I
But-
think we
but-
also have to take into account that like for a lot of people, like religion is really rooted into them, into the fact that like they have a love for their God. And so in the same way, to find out that this being that you have been loving, that you've been sacrificing your whole life for, is like a total ass wipe, excuse my language, but like for that to happen, and then on top of that, like the love of your daughter, like your daughter just died, like you are in a lack of love. And so now the theme of the movie being love, and the contrast of what is the antithesis of love, it could be like vengeance, it could be whatever Gorr was doing. Like I think that it can correlate, and you can kind of see the difference in the contrast between the two. And I think it was also visually seen as well. Every scene that had like Thor and Jane, especially when he saw Jane, like he went into that really cool armor that was like even more colors. Even the cape was like a red velvety red, like you got to see all these different colors. And when you get to Gorr, who lost all that love, it was like all black and white. It was all like in that form. So I think that you can kind of see the contrast of those two, of Thor trying to find love, trying to reconnect with love, and then Gorr kind of taking out his anger because he has nothing to love.
But then the issue with that is Thor doesn't make him believe in that, because you can argue, and yeah, go ahead and say I'm a hypocrite because of Multiverse of Madness. Go ahead, but you can say that because the sword was destroyed, and like if there was, I like the idea that Thor was just like, you make your own decision, but this is not really what you want. I'm gonna go do what I choose to do. I feel like if that was more fleshed out, if there was more instances showing that gods literally take away the choice of people. And then Thor ultimately was just like, this is not my choice to make. You gotta do this. If I live or die, I'm just gonna go spend it with the person that I love, that I care about. And then that changes Gorr. That would have been a lot more emotionally satisfying than the sword being broken, and then Thor does that. But then there was nothing else in the movie that leads up with, specifically with Thor's interaction with Gorr, to lead to that scene. That's why it didn't feel.
That's in a better version of this movie, though.
But I think it's also, Thor is a god, you know, and so like for Gorr to see that Thor, oh god, all these ors, to see that Thor chose the people like over trying to save the day, I think that's really kind of what woke him up. And also the fact that he was like, remember what you're fighting for. Remember the fact that like you wanted to have this wish. Are you really going to sacrifice the one wish that you can get into this universe? You collected all your Dragon Balls. One wish you can get in this universe. Instead of bringing back your daughter, you were going to just kill all the other gods. Is that really what you want?
And then what purpose would you have at that point?
Right, exactly.
But then why not have Gorr make that decision and fight with the influencing him, fight with the sword, and ultimately throw it away?
That's in the better movie. We can't talk about the hypothetical. Movie. We got to talk about what's given here.
I want to also bring back to the fact that in the beginning, when he was in that paradise, the sword called to him because it knew that he was angry at the gods. It wasn't that the sword was like, once you pick me up, you're going to want to kill all of the gods. It was like, we know that you're upset with the gods, and this sword is going to help you slay them all. Because it said that the sword was calling him based off of how he was feeling. So him having that feeling and him being there and it coming out of the shadows and him grabbing it, it's not, I don't think that it was under the influence. I think it was just feeding off of the fact that he was upset at the gods.
The issue with that, Darce, is that I think that is really subtle storytelling, and this movie is anything but subtle throughout the rest of its runtime. And for subtle storytelling and more visual storytelling to be present in a movie, you can't have such loud, not subtle aspects of the movie. Literally, there was a whole joke of slowly like the hammer coming in. Like these aspects aren't subtle. So then if the movie's teaching you not to take it subtly, why should I take the subtle elements as serious as they should be, even if it looks good on paper? That's the question. That's the question that I'm left with.
Because I think also after he killed the god said something to him, and he was like, no, this isn't like my new thing to worship. This is a promise, you know, a promise that I can actually go out and fulfill, you know? So I think like him saying that, him turning more into the Gorr character, I don't think that was like a subtle thing. I think it was a pretty big and loud thing. So that's why I feel like I kind of enjoyed this character. Like it wasn't too much in your face because we were getting the comedy aspects, we were getting the love aspects, and then we got some of the villain aspects. So I think there was a good balance of it all. Could we have gotten more villain scenes? Sure. Could we have seen more god massacres? Sure. But I think that this was, I think the pacing of it was good. If we're going to start doing the ratings on the movie, I kind of give this one a 9.5 out of 10, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's high.
Yeah,
we are
good.
gonna...
I really had such a great time watching it. I laughed at all the goat scenes. If I take this movie out of the Marvel equation, I would have loved it. Putting it into the Marvel equation, I think I still love it just as much.
I was just gonna say before the ratings, with what y'all two were going back and forth on, I think a big thing that is kind of another looming theme, just what are you left with when you lose your faith? And that's a kind of a overarching theme for some in the movie, and you're left with, you know, your own idea of what faith is. What are you going to put your faith into?
And to be honest with you, I think phase 4 kind of dives a lot deeper into like religious aspects and into faith aspects in a lot of its movies, and we can dissect that all a little bit later. But it's really interesting to see how the themes of each phases kind of like moves on. You have the mystic phase, you have going against the government phase. This one is really kind of like questioning your religious point of views in a way.
I wouldn't call it religion.
It's more like existential.
Sure.
Yeah.
With existential.
I can see that.
Because faith does not have to be in religion. It could be, just in people. It could be anything.
But again, these aspects would look good, so good on paper. Like, yes, to your point, GrandMasterHoop, and I don't know if anyone else can see what I'm saying here, but like Gorr losing his faith in the gods and then completely abandoning it and trying to like blaze a path, a path through hell, and then Thor saying, "I kind of already completed my arc, and now I don't have faith in anything. I just kind of do everything." But then ultimately finding faith in children, finding faith in the future. I wish that was more pronounced, because we got those things, but they don't feel as satisfying as they should have been.
But they are there. They are there. And again, we have been going back and forth. There's a better movie that could have been written. It very much could have been written by this team, but I think we can all agree a lot was cut from the final product. But we are given enough breadcrumbs to at least be able to, kind of pick apart, this is what they were going for, even if it wasn't well enough executed, which still leaves us with a overall satisfying film. I don't know, Nino, your opinion changed. Toasty, were you about to say something?
Yeah, so with Eternity, the final wish could fulfill anything, right?
Yes.
That was the logic, yeah.
So why didn't the villain revive his civilization instead of reviving the daughter in the world where she's not practically the only girl from that species left? Why didn't you just do that?
When it comes down to
for him to be okay also?
Because it would not have fit the theme of what the movie was trying to say with love.
You didn't see him. Yeah, you didn't see him love for his community. You saw the love for his daughter. So
his community could have just been terrible.
But you bring up a good point, Toasty. Why didn't he try and find a way where his daughter could live with him? And I just think that we wouldn't have that question, or you wouldn't have that question, if we believed that Gorr truly believed that Thor was someone to trust.
Okay, yeah.
I can see that too. Yeah. So yeah, here we are, closing out. Not where you rank it, but how do you score it? I think when we revisit our tier list, whenever that may be,
I can rank it in phase 4.
I mean, I can rank it in phase 4. I definitely had the most fun. I this is just me. I had a lot of fun here. Let me not say the most fun. I had a lot of fun here. It's probably top 3 phase 4, and that's between Shang-Chi, this, and No Way Home. So those are like my top 3. This is probably I guess number 3. I think this movie, as we talked about, it's not perfect. There's stuff they could have done better on. I think No Way Home and Shang-Chi, I guess, cohesively were better films. So I guess I would rank this number 3. It's a solid 8.5. And among Thor movies, I have Ragnarok number 1. I have this number 2. That's where I stand. And I love Taika. I think Taika did another good job here.
I think Taika did a good job. I don't think it's better than Ragnarok. I felt like a lot of the jokes hit a lot better in Ragnarok.
Oh, hands down. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I recently watched Ragnarok again, and even the jokes a third or fourth time still hit. With this one, I mean, it was definitely funny. It had the Taika energy in it. And it had its moments. The goats, they were funny. The goats were pretty good. But yeah, I would pretty much put this at a number 2. I think it's better than Thor: The Dark World, obviously, and Thor 1. In terms of phase 4, yeah, it's like in the top 3. Shang-Chi, I would say so far is number 1 with No Way Home right underneath it. Shang-Chi did not have nostalgia in No Way Home compared to No Way Home. No Way Home had the nostalgia element. So, and that's fine. That's fine. But Shang-Chi was an original character built from the ground up with a great villain. I got to give it props for that. For a Phase 4 film. No Way Home, still great. Still love it. So this is like a number 3 for me in terms of Phase 4 films. So yeah, that's where I am with it.
I guess I can go. Yeah, it was a great movie. This movie, No Way Home and Shang-Chi are definitely fighting for second place. I'm excited to see what else they have. Do not laugh. Eternal, obviously, eternally number 1. So this is a second place movie, but it was fun. Like, it has this issue. We can all realize that the writing part of it was weak, but the character were fun enough that I can excuse the bad writing in a way. So I'm okay with that. Again, not as good as Eternal, but we never know. Maybe a better movie. I would for Eternal 2. Maybe that will finally dethrone the king. But I'm moving on.
Goodness.
I'm Sprite. I don't want to grow up.
You know, Toasty feels so strongly about Eternals. I need to go watch it. I'll make time to watch it this weekend. And
you will enjoy it.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. But with this movie, I really resonated with Thor throughout all of his films. Like, I was a big Thor fan. I had no expectations going into this movie, and I spent the entire ride home in silence because I felt somehow disappointed for a movie. That's a lie. No, I'm being serious. I didn't even turn the radio on, and I'm
a huge Thor fan.
I enjoy Thor: The Dark World.
No, Thor: The Dark World, I don't count, but I found enjoyment when I first saw it in high school. But I was in high school. The original Thor, I think, is a masterclass in Shakespearean writing with Kenneth Branagh like directing and getting really great performances. Ragnarok is Ragnarok. It was really great, but this movie I felt very hollow, and I felt very like I didn't feel like it earned any of the things that it did. I give it a 5.
5. Ooh.
5.
Wow. That's a rough. I didn't even say my score. I would give it like a 7. I'll give it like a 7.
You lost your faith like Gorr. Now you're gonna kill all the Thor movies.
No, I mean he's had 4. He's had 4 runs. He's had 4 runs as 4 solo.
Nino Desplazado said, "No more Thor. Butch all the Thors."
Butch all of them. You know what? Oh, maybe that's how we stop getting Thor movies, because Gorr butched all of them. Now we'll only get cameos. There. Done.
I was going to say, in all honesty, and this is going to sound kind of weird, I don't think the movie was needed because it's not technically connected and or contributes to any further larger Marvel storyline, but I kind of like that. I know we as like a chat have frequently talked about kind of all of our various feelings in terms of like where Marvel is headed next. I honestly feel a little confused. And maybe that's because I'm not as connected to comics, so I don't have the inside scoop about what may be to come. So I actually found it kind of refreshing just to go in, have no expectations, and not necessarily have to try to make connections between anything. So that was refreshing in a way, I think, similar to what's already been shared. There were pieces in which I wish were fleshed out maybe a little bit more, or characters I got more time with just because I did really enjoy them. This felt like kind of, I won't say run-of-the-mill Marvel. I think there were more comedy elements or in kind of experimentation that I really enjoyed compared to run-of-the-mill Marvel. But I wouldn't say this is like cracking my top 10 or any of that. But I think it was a fun movie, a 3.5 out of 5. I'm kind of in the, it's kind of in the middle there for me. And I think that's okay. I feel like I would watch this again and have a good time. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Is that everybody? Oh.
In in my Marvel ranking, I think that like for Phase 4 wise, it's definitely top 3. I think it's number 2 for me. I very much enjoyed it. I laughed so hard in that movie, and to go into a Marvel movie and laugh that hard, I am really happy about it. You know, I was talking to my roommates about it, and like Multiverse of Madness was a horror movie. It was kind of like you have like that chase through the dimension, you have the scary elements to it, and it did that part of it. This was a rom-com, and it was a Marvel movie rom-com, and I had a great time laughing and watching it and learning the true meaning behind love. No, I'm just kidding. But still, like it was a fun
That's
movie.
okay. That's okay.
It was a lot of fun. So like I give it a higher score. Maybe I may recant that 9.5 because that is
no, you commit. You commit.
9.
Commit to it.
9. It has an A on my rating, but like I think it was a lot of fun. I would definitely rewatch this. I may rewatch Ragnarok a little bit more than this, but I still think that this was like a really fun movie.
I do have to mention one quick thing before we go. I think also maybe I wasn't given a fair shot at this film because of the film. Like watching it, I first of all, I won tickets to go see this in a rundown theater. The sound was kind of like this the entire time, and it was very dark. The screen wasn't very bright, so a lot of the dark scenes. Yes, Fashion Square.
Ooh, baby.
And
girl.
it was just
nice.
It was free tickets. I'm not gonna complain. But me and the person I went with definitely were like, I feel like we have to watch it again to enjoy it because we could barely hear, barely see some of parts of the movie.
Dang,
So,
we saw this in IMAX.
We did see this
It
in
was
IMAX.
so loud.
And you know what?
It was very loud.
I can't blame you because I had the same experience when I saw The Batman with Robert Pattinson, and I was like, wow, this movie is trash. But once I rewatched it in a better theater, I was like, oh, actually, not too shabby. So I get
it can make the difference. It can make the recliner can make all the difference. It really can. That's why IMAX. I'm DrJaceAttorney. Why we gotta watch this in IMAX for Thor?
Listen, I'm
hear this. This is why.
I
This is
never,
why.
I never said that.
That is what you said. I don't know about 4D is hit or miss. Because some of the 4D could be too much. Jurassic World in 4D was
I
a
saw
lot.
Sonic 2 in 4D while I was having some sort of appendicitis thing going on with my body, and that roller coaster of a movie experience,
That
I
rocked
was
your
like
world.
crying because I was laughing so hard at how much pain I was in.
That sounds terrible.
It
But
was-
hey, 40X, if you're listening, there, give us some money. We're throwing your ad in there. 40X is a cool experience. Thor is a cool experience. Whatever Thor film you find grace in, own that grace and love it. Love and thunder. Thor is a great character. He's the fourth. It's the fourth Thor movie, and he's the only mainstay to get 4 films. Angelo, if you have something to say, now's the time to say it because we're wrapping up. Tangelo, hello,
Yes,
Tangelo.
hello. Yeah, I've been running around doing things and just kind of listening in.
Right.
I think all that I will, like, if I was to give it a ranking, this is the thing, I haven't spoken. Just because, I guess I'm going to be special here. I give it a 4.9, so I'm a little below Kenneth. And my reasons is basically most of what Kenneth has said. Plus, there is some really deep, this is really random, a really deep theory that like this movie actually really triggered me, and I was like, ugh. Especially when we were linking like the anti-queerness that's there. There's this book called No Future by Lee Edelman that talks about the symbolic imagery of the child that like gets thrown around a lot of the time. And again, Taika Waititi, this is a little more like really random, deep literary theory analysis, but like when that like pops up, like I love children, like I want to work with children as a social worker, all this stuff. But like when I think of representation and then the narratives with children, like it's not like a red flag, but it's just kind of like, that's a lot. And so I don't know. I just felt like, yeah, there were a lot of things that felt flat for me. Some of the writing felt flat. I really wanted more Jane. The Valkyrie, yeah, that was covered like an hour ago. I promise you, I was here. I was listening. So yeah, just because I want to boost up Kenneth, but also or Nino. Desposado. Thank you. Okay. I will give it 4.9 to jump on that bandwagon. So there you go.
You know what? We appreciate Tangelo. You've been listening the whole time just to get on the train of the less than 5. It's okay though. If you want to hear more about Tangelo's thoughts on the film, check out Tangelo's TikTok, where they will be going into further depth on why this film garners such a ranking from them. But with that said, yes, Thor, Love and Thunder. If you haven't seen it, folks, go see it. And of course, if you'd like to carry on the discussion with us, folks from the Yonkō Table, be sure to follow the Patreon and join the Patreon below to join our Discord. And we will be going over more of those topics that we discussed on Thor, Love, and Thunder. So with that said, that's it from us here at the Yonkō Table. I'm GrandMasterHoop, fellow Yonkō, DrJaceAttorney. Shout out to Supernovas, DoctaReeka, Darce, Toasty, Nino Desplazado, and the cameo appearance of Tangelo. Thanks for following us on all our social media. Again, Patreon, you want to talk to us, there it is. Yeah, social media, all that jazz. Thank you for watching us on YouTube and, of course, your podcast listening stations. That's it from us, but we want to hear from you, so hit us up. All right. Without further ado, here, should we close it out like this? Someone starts singing, she's got eyes of the bluest skies. No. Okay. All right. Everybody, good night. Take care. Whatever. I tried. Take care.